our guest, best-selling author, Jennifer Clark Eskew. Jennifer, I'm excited to talk to you today, and we have news to talk about and multiple
Yeah.
news levels. But first, for your fans, what's happening soon for you?
What's going on? Well, tomorrow, Saturday, in Abingdon, Virginia, at the Abingdon Commons, I'm being hosted by, it's called Appalachian Roots Trading Post. Crystal owns it. She also owns Crystal Cafe inside. It's a brand new facility there in Abingdon, Virginia, which is a very nice historic little town in southwestern Virginia, right off of Interstate 81. It's where I lived for 25 years and worked as an ATF agent. She's invited me to be a guest there, to do some book signings, see a lot of old friends, a lot of old faces, a lot of retired law enforcement that I worked with. They're planning on coming out to support me tomorrow. So I'll be there from 12 noon till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, signing books and hopefully just getting to meet and greet a lot of people. And the local Virginia Highlands Community College, one of the instructors there that teaches law enforcement courses, she's told her students that if they'll come out and meet me, that will be extra credit for them. And I was like, well, that's really nice, to get some people to come to see me. But she's going to get these young people to come out and see me. I said, well, I'll tell you what. So they'll have proof of life, proof of showing up. How about they get a photo with me? They got to be up there. I said, they don't have to buy a book. I said, and if they do, I'm going to lead them towards ebooks because they're students and they need to save some money. Get an ebook, but come out and let's do a selfie together. And then you can show your teacher you really were hanging out with me. And
That's cool. And
that's
are you excited to be back in your old neck of the woods?
Absolutely. I got great friends there. In fact, some really terrific friends that we have done a lot of motorcycle riding across the United States and Canada with, and just people I've known for, oh my goodness, 35 years or better. Uh, they are planning on having a little get together afterwards for us at their home uh, with friends. We're all going to get together, so it's probably a dozen of us or so going to get together and uh, have a couple of libations and a couple of nice hors d'oeuvres and just socialize for a while. And it's going to be fun to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. A couple of people happen to see videos of me online, and so they're like, "I didn't know you wrote a book." So they reached out to me on Facebook. That's been fun. So they're coming tomorrow. It's good. It's going to be fun to see people I haven't seen in quite a while, and a lot of them are people I worked with for 15, 20, 25 years, from different law enforcement agencies, from different court systems, judicial systems. So it's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be really fun,
Yeah,
and that's the fun thing.
yeah.
Now, not fun news, not nice news. Let's talk about that before we go. Who knows what direction we're going after that? But talk about the biggest case right now that you're really studying.
The case that's happening that you can't turn on the TV or the radio and not hear something about or pick up a newspaper is about Nancy Guthrie. She's 84. I feel this case personally, I guess, a little bit, not because I know them or have ever met them, because my mom, was in her 80s. She just passed a year and a half ago, but um, and I think about her being 84 years old. At that particular time, because of dementia, she had started living with myself and my husband part time, and then my sister and her husband part time, and the special needs that we had to do for her. Miss Guthrie did not have dementia, does not have that, but I look about this woman and living alone, and I worry about the safety of seniors. I don't worry about everybody's safety, but when it comes down to safety for our seniors, um, they knew that she wasn't really the best person for walking distances. I haven't heard anybody say anything about a cane or a walker, but I know that they said that to walk 50 yards would have been very difficult on her. And that happens with age for a lot of us. I mean, I feel it now at 63 some days. So it's a thing. And I wish, and I would like people to think about it. Life Alert is a great system to have for someone who needs that, and especially when they're on their own. If they fall, you can. It doesn't have to be the ugly looking necklace. They've got other type things because they may not always have their cell phone on them, and that's a tragic thing. Um, I've known people who were counting on that cell phone to be their life alert, and unfortunately, it wasn't with them when they fell in the house, and that resulted in them uh, passing earlier than they probably should have. And I hate that for people not having that. So that life alert, having that around your neck is great, or having it in a bracelet, however they make it nowadays. Also, there's other systems. There's, of course, we're hearing about the Nest system, but the Ring camera system. And you can get these cameras inside, outside. You can go to Sam's Club and buy the camera system and have it installed. Some of it is really easy to install. I know we have it, and our dogs very immediately started to learn that that little ringing on my husband's cell phone was the doorbell at the front of our house, and that somebody was there for some reason. Packages usually. Uh, we're traveling, and yesterday his phone goes off. Well, they're dropping off a package on the front porch. The dogs immediately are barking because they're like, "Hey, there's somebody at the front door." It's like, y'all know we're in the pickup truck, right? So that's the dogs. It's having those systems. It doesn't cost that much to keep that system paid up, or pay for it annually, just whatever. And to have a camera on the inside of the house, have a couple on the outside. The first thing we did from my mom years ago, and I highly encourage this if you don't do anything else, when my dad passed away, is we made sure that every camera, every light, not camera, but light system on the outside of her house, that they worked, that everything was working. Because before that, her and dad wouldn't let us mess with it, but it's like now we could. We made sure all the light systems, every time something walked past it, stray dog, whatever it might be, person walking up in the middle of the night, those lights all came on, that the whole outside lit up. And it gave my mom a peace of mind that she could look out and see. As her dementia came along and we needed to move her, we were still like, hey, we got to keep those lights up at the house because we don't need somebody going up there trying to break in, with at least motion, something's going on. So lighting is important, cameras are important, and that life alert around your neck, it's not just because you've fallen and can't get up. It could be for any reason that you need to hit that thing to get help. Um, and I wish Miss Guthrie had had those things. I worry about this investigation. Uh, I talked to different friends that are been in this kind of work for years. Um, my opinion, and only mine, is that this was a home invasion that went wrong, went terribly wrong. I don't personally believe that this was designed to be a kidnapping ransom, because the whole ransom thing so far has just petered out. It's been bad people behaving badly, taking advantage of a horrible situation. I look at things that are close to the border down there, and yeah, it could be, but it's so disorganized if that's what their plan was. Um, it's not like an organized kidnapping like they tend to do on the borders. The other thing I look at is I am not pleased with what I've seen from this sheriff from day one. Um, he's a politician, but he's not showing leadership, and he is not showing any experience or skill at what he's doing, and that's worrisome. And um, when you have a case and it's this scary and there's a life on the line, as in this situation, every resource available is what you're supposed to be doing. You get every resource, everybody that can help you, so that you can get what you need, evidence wise, lead wise, and have a chance at recovering this person and getting them back alive. And I think we're gone too far now. I think at this point it's a homicide. I also think that probably this case should have been treated as a homicide, with fingers crossed and prayers said that it wasn't going to turn out to be that. But the longer you go, the worse this is.
No, absolutely. And you think so you're thinking that ultimately it was not an inside job. It was potentially just a home invasion gone wrong. What is the reason why you're pinpointing to that versus the brother-in-law doing it or somebody else?
I think it's really easy to like sling a lot of stones at the family and the family members and all, but I don't see that this family was dysfunctional to that level at all. Like it's just not showing. Um, it's just not. Uh, there's enough money there, and everybody seems to be perfectly fine and living well. So I don't see that. Um, I don't see a dysfunction of this family to that level either at all. Um, they seem to have their act together for the most part. And it takes something to really harm somebody, to harm a human. Um, Miss Guthrie's 84. It's not like she was going to live for another 84 years. So I don't see that on their part. Um, However, she lives in a nice neighborhood, wealthy homes, wealthy people. She's elderly. I'm not going to say that it's not in some way an inside job. And what I mean by that is she has people who have been trusted caretakers of her home and of her landscaping and her pool, those sort of things. They always have got people coming and delivering things to them. You never know who's bringing something out to the house for the first time, takes a look around and says, wow, this is kind of nice. And somehow or another in the chit chat, they learn that it's just this one elderly lady that lives here, and her daughter's wealthy and they're wealthy. And, oh yeah, real nice home. You're looking at it and you're seeing it as something of, wow, I bet there's a lot of money in there. I bet there's a safe in there. I bet there's jewelry in there. And it's an elderly person. How hard could it be to do the home invasion? How hard can it be to get access into this home with this person and get in and get out? Except it did turn into something that went terribly wrong. Uh, I can't say for 100% sure because I don't have a crystal ball or magic ball here for this. Um, that it's not in some way, somehow or another, linked to, as I call it, the cartels, the gangs, the world of wanting to take somebody, but they normally are much better at doing these things. And they tend to go after the drug target people in their world of money and people who owe them lots of money, that sort of thing. Targeting one wealthy, older, elderly person, that's not a thing in the past.
No.
No. Now, Phoenix might have been, I'm not going to say if I was the sheriff, but one of the groups that you could have called out there really early would have been the Phoenix PD.
Right.
They have always had for several years a home invasion kidnapping group in their PD. I think they call it Hike, HIKE. I don't. The E stands for enforcement, I believe. So it's home invasion and kidnapping enforcement, and they're specially and they're trained, and that's great. And I think that would have been probably the first call that should have been made if they didn't already have people trained like that to do these kinds of things in Pima County. Beyond that, like I said, you want the FBI in there as fast as you can get them. Um, they've got the technology, they've got the people, they've got the resources, they've got the money to throw at this thing, and they can bring everything. You've got a lot of other agencies. I know that they finally brought in Bortec. Bortec is right there. That is the Border Patrol, and they are trained at tracking people in
Oh,
the.
wow.
They trained for that. But the other thing that you have with several of those counties, the rural counties down near the border, along with what the Border Patrol has, is
Right.
horseback riding law enforcement officers and search and rescue teams. Right off the bat, you wanted to get them out there and searching because there could be this elderly person out on the ground someplace that's still living that needs help. That the sooner you could have gotten out there in the desert on a horse, you might have a chance at seeing things like
Mhm.
footprints or a person in the brush down there.
Right.
There's just there were a lot of things that could have been brought in on day one.
Uh, So, what is your prediction? Is she alive still?
I'd like to be completely wrong. I don't feel it, but I'd like to be wrong about that. I'd love to think that they're going to kick in the door someplace and they're going to find her and she's going to be okay. Um, but the longer you go, it's harder. And
So, when a missing person goes, how long till you finally say there's probably not a good chance they're going to be found?
I think no one ever wants to give up or to ever say to stop hoping or to stop praying or to stop, you know, feeling that they're with us. Um, so you don't. You never sit down and say to just completely give up now.
Right.
The court systems have a system for that. Was it 7 years or something? But I think in the law enforcement mind, you keep going at it as if you're going to recover a living being, but you work it as if you're working a homicide and you need absolutely every piece of evidence, no matter what. You need every piece of DNA, you need every fingerprint, you need every video, you need every possible piece of evidence possible. And you search high and low with every piece of technology you have. And that's helicopters, that's drones, that's dogs, that's horses. It's the full gamut. And
Mhm.
using that media, and not using the media for politics, but using the media to help us get the word out on the things they're doing. I saw this blurry image that they put out today. I understand that they put it out blurry for a reason. I get that. I understand they're not giving us everything that they recovered off of the Nest system over at Miss Guthrie's house either. I think I heard on one of the newscasts that there may have been 2 camera systems in the house. I would guess that they got something off of that, but you know, great technology. The FBI just got those people moved down into Redstone. They have a facility on the Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama, that is truly state of the art. It cost a lot of money, built it huge, and they finally got around to staffing it in 2025. They kept their people up in the headquarters in DC, and finally, Director Patel came in and said, "No, 400 of you we're moving all of that down to Alabama to Redstone. We have this brand new high tech facility. Let's get everything there." And they've got it, and they worked magic with working with Nest on this video.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Best place to go is
that's
jenniferclarksq.com.
it.
Purchase your book. You already still have it right there.
It's all
Becoming
here.
Fire.
It's all right here. Yep, back here behind me. I keep this out all the time. Got to take things with me tomorrow. All the books are packed up right now for sale.
All right.
Here it is.
Becoming Fire. Jennifer Clark Eskew.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jennifer. We
Thank
really
y'all.
appreciate it.
Y'all
All
have a
right.
good day.
You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back.